Getting to The Observer on YouTube is easy. First, navigate to youtube.com/theobservernj. Then, you'll wind up right here. Once there, click the subscribe button. And now you're subscribed. After that, click the arrow and then choose all. Now you'll be notified anytime The Observer is live.
Hi again, everybody. It's Kevin Canessa coming to you live from the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com on this, the 7th day of March in the year 2025. Sure hope you're enjoying your day no matter where it is you are in the country. 48 degrees here in the Northeast. Very windy out there. So if you're outside, I hope you're bundled up. But in the coming days, including on Parade Day, 1 week from Sunday, the forecast is calling for 65 degrees for Mark Wiggins, Donna Bocchino, and Mike Maris. Big day in the parade. So let's just hope that happens and everything stays according to what the plan is right now. So we'll see what happens as we get closer to Sunday of next week, but it's looking good so far. So I've been joining you periodically on Fridays to do kind of like a weekend recap of what's been going on and things that are happening or coming up. And so before I get to that, I want to welcome in a couple of people who are here today. Ivan Anderson is here from New Brunswick, Canada. It's good to see you, Ivan. Mayor Dan Prunty of North Arlington is here with us as well. And my uncle Mike Slane is here with us out in Carlsbad, California. Uncle, I did that video because of you. I wanted to make sure you were able to do the subscribing because it's pretty easy once you really set down to do it. So thank you for catching that, and I hope you're able to do it. If you have any problems or questions, you know you can always give me a call, and I will guide you through it. Now, there are a lot of things that are coming up in the coming days that I was asked to show you and to talk about. The first thing is this from last week. Kearney Mayor Carol Jean Doyle spoke at Franklin School on Read Across America Day. And this is something that she's done 2 years in a row, and I'm sure the other mayors have done this as well on Read Across America Day. In fact, Mayor Prunty, who is watching us, if you could say something about that and let us know, I'm pretty sure you've done it as well. But this picture was sent to us by Councilwoman Mary Trine DeCastro. And this is a great day. It's to honor Dr. Seuss, but look at the way she handles this with the kids has always been something I've always enjoyed seeing them gathered around. So excited to hear the mayor reading to them. And this year she was at Franklin School, and I think they switch it up every year and go to different schools, but it's a great day and a great thing that's done throughout the country. So I wanted to show you this. This was from earlier this week, and this was also earlier this week. Black Balloon Day is a day to remember the people who have lost their lives through addiction. Unfortunately, I don't think there are many people who are watching this broadcast right now who have not been affected by the hideous disease of addiction. And each year in March, the mayor, and with the assistance of Councilwoman Mary Trine DeCastro, and I know that Assemblywoman Barbara Stamato was also present for this, they honor Black Balloon Day and people who have lost their lives through addiction. And this is just one of the many events that take place during the course of the week that sometimes people don't necessarily even know about in Kearney, but so many things are going on. And this is the case in other towns as well, but we just happen to be notified by these, and that's why I'm able to speak to you about it. Also recently, this was a big deal. We Are One New Jersey hosted an event in Kearney. It was organized by Mary Trine DeCastro, the mayor, and several others. But the purpose of this was not to, and I want to make sure this is very clear to anybody who thinks that this is a political issue, because it's not. This is not done for any purpose other than to tell people how to handle things in the event they are, I guess, talked to by Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, ICE. It is not a tool to get out of jail free, so to speak. It was simply an event to explain how to handle it if at some point in time you or somebody you know or somebody in your family is affected by what's happening by the federal government right now with immigration in the United States. And We Are One New Jersey is a very big, very big organization in the state that helps people who may need some sort of assistance. And that took place a couple of weeks ago in the town. And you can see here there are representatives for We Are One New Jersey. That's Councilman Jerry Facito there, Councilman Fred Esteves, Mary Trine DeCastro, and I believe that's Congressman Pooh. I never know how to say her name properly, Nellie, and that's her right there in the center of the picture with Mayor Doyle, and representatives are from We Are One New Jersey, but just one, again, of many events that are taking place. Now, here's another thing. The town is doing a rabies clinic, and that is coming up on March the 15th from 9 to noon at Franklin School. It's a drive-through. You don't have to make an appointment, but you could if you want to. 201-997-0600, the Kearney Health Department. And as a reminder to other towns, if you have events like this that you want publicized, send them to me, and I'll put them up here just like we're doing right here. So there's other ways that you can get the message out that are beyond just the newspaper, and you'll see that this is going to be on the field by the entrance to Franklin School. So that's coming up on the 15th of March. Again, you don't have to register, but you can if you wish. And now this is probably one of the bigger things that's coming up, and this is for people on Sanford Avenue. The lottery for overnight parking spaces is coming up, and the deadline is 1 week from today on March the 14th. And if you are fortunate enough to win a lottery, you'll be able to get a permit for $125. The forms are available at Town Hall or can be downloaded right on the website that is listed below this form. In fact, if you need to write it down, feel free to pause this video right now and you will be able to get that information right now. But the deadline, again, is 1 week from today, so don't delay. If you live on Sanford Avenue or you know somebody who does, you need to get this done by 1 week from today. Otherwise, you will not be considered for that lottery. So that is coming up very soon. Now, if you read the description of this video, you saw that it mentioned what is an agenda meeting and why are they such a pain in the rear, sort of. I'm paraphrasing what the terminology was that I used in the description. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this. In Kearney, agenda meetings happen with the mayor, the business administrator, and other shareholders who need to be there. In the past 22 plus years, Mayor Santos, when he was running these agenda meetings, kept it very, very tight. He would be there, the administrator would be there, and sometimes, but not always, the chairman of the ordinance committee. Last year, when Mayor Doyle was in what would be considered the political minority, some members of the council decided that they wanted to go to this agenda meeting, and so it was opened up, and as long as there weren't a total of any more than four members of the council at the meeting, it would not form a quorum, and so they could then attend these agenda meetings. However, Steve Marks, the business administrator, who of course will be leaving us on April the 1st, and the mayor had found that it was very cumbersome and very distracting when these agenda meetings, which are supposed to be brief and get to the point, were being attended by so many people and distracting from getting the real business of setting the agenda done. And so, last week at the Kearney Council meeting, now that Mayor Doyle has the political majority, she voted and asked for it to be rescinded, and that ordinance was indeed adopted. And so now there will be just the people who, like Mayor Santos wanted it to be, will attend those agenda meetings. Now, where the problem came in here was that Councilwoman Eileen Eckel was pretty vocal about wanting to attend these meetings, and she spoke up at the meeting last week and basically said that it showed more transparency, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm going to show you the video of this. But the bottom line is that she's been on the town council since 2004, so we're approaching 21 years here. And not once, in the years when Al Santos was the mayor of the town of Kearney, did Councilwoman Eckel want to attend any of these meetings. Now, she claims it's because she's retired now. So you can take that with a grain of salt as you wish. But the truth of the matter is, nobody ever complained about not being able to attend agenda meetings until Mayor Santos resigned and Mayor Doyle became the mayor. And it then became the biggest issue of the century. Why can't we go? I want to be there. I want to see what's going on here. I want to know everything. I want to be included in everything. Well, why didn't you care for 2004 until 2024 when this was all finally put into place? Why didn't you care then? And please, because you're retired is not an excuse. Because if you needed to go and you really wanted to go in any of those 20 years prior to this, you could have made it, right? If this was such a big deal. But you never once said a word about that during those years, from 2004 to 2024. Then 2024 comes along, and all of a sudden it's a big effing deal. So let me show you this video from the council meeting last week, and then you could decide for yourself. Without any further ado, here is that meeting, that portion of the meeting that took place 1 week and a couple of days ago. Take a look.
I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 25-0-6.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
This is the time fixed for the public hearing on ordinance 25-0-6. Are there any speakers?
I would like to speak on it.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
I'm just going to make a comment, really just for informational purposes, not for any other reason, because I'm pretty sure where it's going. But so this only took me 2 minutes. The agenda meetings, and I just wrote it down so I wouldn't get off track like I sometimes do. Agenda meetings have been held for over 20 years, maybe longer than that. That's just my recollection. So that the regular meetings of the mayor and council are organized. So what happens is the Tuesday after this meeting, there's a meeting of the mayor, the administrator, the CFO, the town engineer, of course, the attorney, and the clerk. And the clerk comes out and she reads the proposed agenda. And most of the things on the agenda are pretty non-controversial things. Those are, things like you see on your agenda right here, communications, letters that have been written, permission to have a street fair or something. In addition to that, there are other normal things that happen, the ordinances for vacating parking spots, things like that. So there are other things that are talked about too at the agenda meetings, and those have to do with some things that maybe need to be refined, or maybe they need to be just explained a little bit more. Or maybe they're not ready to be put on the agenda. Maybe they're not quite ready for some reason. And those reasons are explained by the attorney, or they're explained by the engineer. And that's important to know. So some things get approved for the final agenda, and some things gets, sometimes it's suggested, but let's hold that until we find out more information. And then sometimes it gets put on. Maybe there's a dollar amount that has to be found, or maybe there's some other, some other thing that's not final. So, and then maybe it gets held for another meeting in case there's not enough information. So that's the purpose of the agenda, right? So after that, the professionals also provide valuable information and insight into other kinds of recommendations, things that are on the table, things that are not going to happen today or tomorrow, but are coming soon. Maybe there's litigation, maybe there's some kind of proposal that's being, worked on, but it's not quite ready yet, not ready yet, right? So people at the agenda meeting kind of get some insight into that. And the reason I'm even mentioning it now is I realize this is something that's on the table to be rescinded, right? This ordinance was brought out last year, I guess. And
February,
February, whatever. I don't remember the date exactly.
I do.
And the intention of it was so that the agenda meeting could be attended by council people. And one of the things that I heard tonight, especially, was so many people saying, even this woman at the end, I forgot her name already, and she said, "Oh, there's so many things, little meeting here, and it's hard to communicate with so many people to get information." Since I worked full time till I retired, I could never go to an agenda meeting because it happens during the day. When I finally had the ability to go, I guess I've been to maybe 10 or 12 meetings. At every single one of those meetings, and I'm there because of this ordinance. The ordinance says that all those professionals there and the mayor, the ordinance chair, and the council president get to go to this meeting, right? But there's always an empty seat. There's another spot there because the reason that you can only have 4 members of the council, you can't have 5. Because if you have 5, that's a quorum, and that's not legal. You can't all be there because then you could come to a consensus, right? So there's always room for 4. Since I started going to this meeting, I've been to not every one of them. I missed 1 or 2, I think 2, because of personal reasons. But at every one of those meetings, there's been another council person there. It's been the mayor, it's been all the professionals, it's been the chair of the ordinance committee and myself. Councilwoman DeCastro's been at multiple meetings. Even our newest councilman, Rodriguez, was there at the last meeting, and it was interesting to learn something about how our government works, how things are done. Councilman Esteves, you were there. Did you want to be there? Yes. Right. Right. Good information. You got to have input. Councilman Tracito, have you been at an agenda meeting? You've been to quite a few agenda meetings. All right. And did you have to go? Were you forced to go? Or did you want to go because you were interested in what was going on?
I wanted to find out what was going on.
Me too. Councilman Theodoropoulos, have you been to an agenda meeting? Okay. So being prepared and informed is a positive and admirable goal as a service to our constituents. There's no animosity, no aggression, no negative purpose, just the desire to be informed. Why is that a bad idea? Why is it a bad idea to have council people at a meeting where they're talking about the stuff that we have to vote on, or maybe we have a committee that we're in charge of, right, or that we share?
Well, that's because you would do that in public, not at a private meeting that the public can't attend.
I just feel as though there's no negative side to having those people there. So what this ordinance does by being rescinded is it says that the only person from the council that can be there would be the ordinance chair and the mayor. None of us can go. So you can't go to another meeting. You can't go to an agenda meeting.
And once again, that's how it was throughout the entire mayoralty of Al Santos. That exact way. But nobody complained then. Nobody. But now it's a big issue because Al Santos isn't the mayor anymore and Carol Jean Doyle is. We'll continue.
Right? And Councilman Casino, you can't go. None of us can go, right? So why? I mean, there's no negative side to it. It's not like a secret reason.
Can I comment?
Yeah.
So I've been on the council for 27 years as a council person. I was never allowed to go to the agenda meeting because Mayor Santos ran it with a tight fist. It was him and not always the ordinance chair. The ordinance chair didn't always attend. So it worked for him, and I think it works for me. Stephen Marks, our business administrator, told me, and I wish you were here tonight to confirm it, that it has become an administrative headache. Jockeying who gets the council people get a memo, here's the agenda meeting. Whoever gets there first gets to go to the meeting. Then we have people showing up because that's
Last, in the last, someone else apparently.
that's right.
And then I'd have to wait a week and a half. Well, you can come, nobody else wants to come.
So it
that has
wasn't,
happened.
it became a major headache for the business administrator. So business went on beautifully for all those years. And so that's why I requested that it get rescinded. Did you have something to say? Yes.
Okay, so at a council meeting, not the last one, I believe it was the first one of February. Might have also been the last one of January. One of the comments that got made by Councilwoman Eckel was that she found it so interesting because she had all these questions about the ordinance and she got all the information at the agenda meeting. And it was explained to her and any questions she had, etc. There's one major problem with that. I don't want you discussing the ordinances behind closed doors. I want you discussing them in public so that the residents know why we're passing this ordinance or what it entails. Don't be hiding behind secret doors.
Melanie is right on here. She is spot on. When you have these meetings that are not attended by everybody, there are things that you can say that would not necessarily be said in public that should be said in public. Melanie hit a grand slam with that comment.
Tell us what the hell you're doing.
So
Right.
let me just also add this. When I first became a councilwoman, we did not get the packets on the weekend. Pat, you can verify this for me. And when I said we should have this information prior to the council meeting so that we can review it, and we also then have the opportunity, if I see something here that regarding, say, DPW, and I don't understand it, I can call Kevin Murphy and ask him about it because I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I call Jim Bruno over all those years, Jim, and ask questions on some of the items that were here on the agenda. So I went right to the source to answer the questions here. So that's why I think that we all have the opportunity before a council meeting to follow up. You have to do your homework. I mean, I sat with a few council people that opened the packet up the night of the meeting and never looked at it from the minute they got it and asked questions that the answers could have been gotten before the meeting. So I think the packets, by each one of us getting it, we can review it and then have the questions. I mean, oftentimes we do call the different professionals. I mean, David, how many times do council members call you before a meeting? Can you count?
I've gotten a lot of calls.
Yeah, you do get a lot of calls, sure.
But
Absolutely.
Mayor, I just have another part to it. I agree with you. I've been on the council a long time. I get my packet, I read it.
You do.
I,
Mhm.
I know what's happening. I understand all that, but that's not the only thing that happens at the agenda meeting. The things that happen at the agenda meeting have to do with the context that things happen under. Like we know something's coming next, or we don't even know the question to ask because we don't know what was not put on.
So
and
it's
let me
very selective because there's only,
But again, the packet will say anything that you need to know because you get it before the weekend and you have days before the meeting to ask those questions instead of stuffing too many people into a room and causing a headache for the people who are running the meetings.
one council person, you and the ordinance. So it's very
I
selective.
don't mean it that way. And frankly, I'm not, not intended to be an aggressive situation. I just feel like if every single council person here has been at a meeting, it's because they wanted to know what was going on so that they could ask a better question or resolve an issue or a problem. And I just don't, and it's not intended to be selective. Look, if I can't make a meeting, the first time I couldn't make one of those agenda meetings, because you can have an alternate.
But you wouldn't leave the meeting when Fred came and Jerry was sitting there. You said, no, I'm not leaving, but you had been to most of the meetings. That's when it becomes
But
a little uncomfortable for all of us.
that's what it says. The ordinance says
But
that.
you could have said, you know what? Let me get up, Fred, because you haven't had the opportunity to be at a meeting yet. But you didn't. You said, no, I'm not leaving the meeting. So
but-
that's why I think
there's-
this is necessary to
Here's
put
what's
into
gonna happen.
place.
Listen, I'm not trying. The other piece of it is, as far as it being cumbersome, it's a Google Calendar invitation. All the names are on it, and then the people that can make the meeting, you click it, and it turns green. And I know the mayor said she's going, the councilman said he's attending, maybe Dave Silva's going, and this time Mr. Neglia is not able to make it. And then there's and other people get the click if they want to come in or they don't want to come in. I don't know that there's a perfect solution. I'm just suggesting that if there's any council people here that would like to attend an agenda meeting because they've been to one and they like having information and they want to know what's going on so they can answer questions maybe better, then some of the things we talk about in an agenda meeting can't be really discussed in public because they're not ready for public information yet. You can address that. There's things that shouldn't be done in public. So if you don't even know the question to ask, it's very hard to ask the question. I understand where this is headed. I'm not trying to be difficult. I just think that transparency is valuable, not just for us to the public, but with each other, because we have to be able to have conversations with each other that are based on things that we've learned or that we know or that we want to share. And that's really all I have to say. It doesn't require any more conversation. I just wanted to put it on the record.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Are there any other speakers on this ordinance? Yes. Hi.
I just have two things. One, if we rescind this, does that mean other council people can never go to the agenda meetings? That's my first question.
Well, never, that's not the case. There maybe could be, but the issue was only one can be there at a time. That was causing the issues.
Okay, so I'm a little confused because as every single person here knows that I run Girl Scouts, right? So the easiest thing to do was when we had a problem, we just said, hey, guess what? We're going to sign up and we're going to just go. So you sign up for the month that
No,
you
but
decide that you're
You
going.
can only have 4 at a time.
I understand. So why can't we just say, hey, you know what? You're going to go to this one this month. You're going to go next month. And why can't we do that? Why is it that we are going to argue over so that everybody does get the opportunity to be able to go?
They've all had the opportunity.
Right. So why can't we just rotate as opposed to
Because
having the
it's-
first come, first serve thing?
I'm just going to say it one more time. Too bad Stephen isn't here because it's become an administrative headache. That's what he said. So that's why I'm moving it.
Okay, I just was confused because I just didn't understand why it was
I ju-
a,
I-
a,
Well,
a
that's why it
problem.
is.
Actually, Mayor, I just have one more
Thank
thing
you.
I just thought of, and I don't even know the answer, so that's why I'm asking it. Before this ordinance was put into place, and you were the mayor,
Mhm. No, I wasn't there. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 month. Go ahead.
you were, I mean, well,
Yeah.
all right. Before you were put, and then there were agenda meetings. Were
Mhm.
there ever any other people at any other council people
No.
ever go to an agenda meeting
No.
prior to that?
No, Mayor Santos didn't have it that way. No. So we did it the same way he did it.
I mean, I don't know because I never went to one,
No.
but then when I had the opportunity, as everyone else here has had the opportunity and they seem to want to
Mhm.
be there. I know Councilwoman DeCastro is now working, so obviously can't make it to a daytime meeting. But but well, that's a good thing, I guess.
Here's another thing. They should not, as a council, be talking about situations that the other ones are involved in. So, in other words, what Councilwoman Eckel just said about Councilwoman DeCastro there was inappropriate and out of line because she's now available during the day, but she's working. I mean, are you kidding me? How would you? If that doesn't reek of trying to smack somebody politically? I don't know what is.
Okay, so
Mhm.
that's, I'm just saying, like when I was working, I wasn't available during the day. So, but when you were available, you attended, right? So I'm just suggesting that it may be something that you might like to do and now won't be able to do. That's all. Okay.
Are there
You
any
don't have to
other
speak
speakers
for
on
me.
this ordinance?
Thanks, Eileen. Thank you.
There being none, motion to close
Mayor,
the public hearing.
just before we close, I'm sorry, what was that? Okay, sorry. All I heard was stop. That's why I was like, oh, okay. Just a little bit of information for everybody. This was put in as a safeguard in place so that all members of the governing body would have the opportunity to be included. Regardless of political affiliations, regardless of personal differences, it was created so that everybody would have an opportunity and a chance to be included. I'm happy that in the course of the what is it, Mayor, now year and a half that we've done this, that I put this ordinance through, that we've had everybody of the governing body go to these meetings, which is great. I'm hoping that moving forward, we can continue to have that same level of communication with everybody, and extend that offer to be included. I know when I first got on the council as the ordinance chair, my predecessor was on those meetings. Um, she wasn't at first, from my understanding. She did get on them over the course of several years, and then even with the changes in leadership from Mayor Santos to Santana to Mayor Doyle, I personally made it a point to be involved in all, because in one way or another, ordinances impact every aspect of every department, from funding, bond ordinances to quality of life issues, and it's important that we have members of the governing body in those meetings when we start having that conversations with the professionals. And to the point of one of the public speakers, that's why I make it a point, in comparison to my predecessor, that whenever I talk about any ordinances, I make it a point to explain the ordinance, to whether as detailed or as brief as possible, so that the residents are fully aware. And it was also under my time as the chair that I made it a point that the ordinances be posted online so that the residents are fully aware. And while it's unfortunate that it's not always the case that the ordinances are posted online, that's an administrative and a day-to-day operations issue. I think it is important that we have the residents fully involved in the conversation, whether it be in agenda meetings, committee meetings, full mayor and council meetings. It leads to a stimulated and well thought out conversation. There have been times where I know, Mayor, you and I, we entered a meeting with differences on a particular policy point, and then at the end, we both came in full agreement. We both heard each other's points. We got perspectives from the professionals, and it's been a fruitful conversation. So I'm very grateful that throughout the time this ordinance has been in effect, that it's led to positive results. Seeing that there's no other members of the public, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
At this moment, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 25-0-6.
Second.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Zeckel,
No.
DeCastro, Lucido,
Yes.
Zapata,
No.
Theodoropoulos.
Yes.
Esteves,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
and Mayor Doyle.
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted.
So there it is. In the chat room, Joe Undetermined asked, what is the argument about? Let me just kind of explain it to you briefly, Joe. I did earlier. I'm sorry you missed it. The idea is that for as long as Al Santos was the mayor, and probably before that when Pete McIntyre was mayor, Leo Vartan before him, and Kenny Lindenfelser before him, Danny Sansone before him, and we can keep going back to Henry Hill and before time. These agenda meetings were of the mayor, the administrator, and sometimes the ordinance chairman. And when Mayor Doyle was out of the majority, they did a sneak attack ordinance to make it that up to 4 members of the council could be present, or 3 extra and the mayor, because you can't form a quorum. And as this was happening, it was becoming very, very cumbersome. It became a big deal because Al Santos wasn't the mayor anymore, and suddenly everybody wants all these ridiculous, unnecessary changes that did not have to happen, because this was a well-oiled machine during the Santos administration and prior to that. And then it becomes a real big issue, because for the first time in history, we have an elected female mayor. And it still makes me laugh that they keep throwing in Santana's name when they talk about the former mayors. He was mayor for 3 months, and we know what a disaster that was. So that's kind of funny, too. But that's what it's all about. You saw the video. You make the decision for yourself. Is Councilwoman Eileen Eckel being unreasonable, or is Mayor Doyle being unreasonable through the town administrator by saying that having too many people there becomes very cumbersome? That's not for me to decide. It's for you to decide. That we sent you the information, though I know I did throw in some commentary there as well. It is 8 minutes past the hour. Kevin Canessa here with you on the Observer Live for the end of the week discussion. That's going to do it for this week's episode. We will be back on Tuesday with another edition of the Observer Live, or if anything happens between now and Tuesday, we'll join you live to let you know about it. I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. It's not supposed to be the best weather-wise, but we'll see what happens. And when we're back on Tuesday, don't forget, Tony Mondero of the Harrison Weather Center will be with us once again. From the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com, it's Kevin Canessa signing off for now, and we hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.